noticed since the stimulus conversation about issuing checks from the administration, the carrot dangles, people like, oh, I mean, you know, for us, we'll joke about stuff and try to make light of it.
Of course,
and
you'll we think everything's funny.
Yeah. Oh, now leave my president alone. He's gonna give us $1,500 each. You know, he's gonna give us $1,000. Oh, you trying to buy my vote? I might have to look. You know, the side eyes, and you know, it's with the intent of conversation and satire. But then the sad part is there's many people that could be swayed by that.
Of course. You know, and it's social conditioning. We've been socially conditioned to take the least. We've been socially conditioned to take the crumbs that fall from the table, completely ignoring that we built the table, we built the chairs around the table, we built the cabinet, the table, and the chairs sitting in to make it stand. We mowed the grass that the cabin sit on, but we've been socially conditioned to accept the crumbs that fall from the table. And to a certain extent, I can't even blame people who are in generational poverty. I can't even blame people who are in situational poverty. People who don't know no better are going to continue to make poor choices because poor choices is all they have to make. So if I live in a project and my mama lived in a project and my grandmama lived in a project and my great-great-grandmama lived in a project, poverty is relative. Yes, poverty is relative. Everybody in my circle has the same exact mindset, so I'm not going to change my habit. For a person who's in situational poverty, you might have a degree, you might have an advanced degree, you might have been married, but what if your spouse died? Or what if your mother or your father got Alzheimer's, and now that person is coming to live in your house because you can't afford to put them into a nursing home, or you did put them into a nursing home, and that's a new expense. So it could be one thing that can happen. It could be a death in the family, an illness, anything, a loss of a job that could go from you being comfortable, living paycheck to paycheck, able to go on one vacation a year and have a decent Christmas, to now you living in poverty and you going to the local food bank at your church. So with situations like that,
that's the God honest truth.
When you're, but so that stimulus check, it might sound right about now. But that don't mean go ahead and take that money, because for all these years that you've been working and paying taxes, they ain't doing nothing but giving you your money back. Right.
Exactly.
That little $1,500, call that reparations. But don't allow that to sway you to continue to allow this man to be in office. Yeah. No, absolutely. He didn't earn our vote the first time. And I'm be absolutely honest with you. I'm absolutely on the fence about voting this year. Because to a certain degree, and this might be controversial, and I don't care, because I'm entitled to my opinion. Y'all do what y'all want to do. But when I see commercials of little old white women talking about they can't afford their prescriptions, but they voted for Trump last year, or whatever, was it 2016? They voted for him in 2016, but they're not going to vote for him this year. Ma'am, this is the president you deserve. Yeah, I'm not voting him. This is the president you deserve. Because you owe, and you want to go back to the antebellum South. You want to go back to black people drinking at their own water fountains. You want to go back to driving Miss Daisy. You want to go back to that time. So this is the president that you deserve, because that's what you thought you was going to get when you got him and didn't know that you played yourself. I don't feel obligated to save those people. Now, as far as black people concerned, struggle's all we know. We know how to go from eating lobster. We know how to go from eating lobster and steak, going back to eating syrup and sugar sandwiches, like it's nothing. Okay,
ain't nothing wrong with it. You absolutely.
There's nothing wrong with it. So whatever
LeShelle, people wait. They wait till this time of the year to know they're going to get this big income tax check that they feel is a big check. You don't pay into the system, honey. You just getting back a portion of what you cycled in and worked.
Of what you already
an account that has not accrued any interest.
No interest, none.
Yeah,
none.
Yeah.
So I don't.
So let me exhaust all my resources as an entrepreneur. Yeah. Let me expand my horizons. Allow me.
That's right.
I'm gonna tell you something. Dr. Miles Monroe Bless his heart. He has so many components, but yes. But you know what? The delightful thing. I listen to him, and it helps me a lot of times to get to make sure I maintain an alignment to what I understand in my heart to be. Because, you know, the societal things, the things that we see in our visual eyes, the things that we hear can take you so far away from what you know from your roots that you start questioning everything. And that's happening right now. It's a pandemonium that's occurring and underlining. You can feel people's anxieties and stress, and a lot of it is the unknown. And this is so important where you have to sit still and do the things necessary to occupy yourself in the moment. Because if you think too far ahead, it could take you in a whole other direction, right? But he makes this statement about that poverty is the lack of uses of resources. And so, you know how you were speaking about the factor of people's mindsets. And what I get from that is that we all come and have gifts. We all are made up to bring something to the human race, right?
Right.
But when we don't utilize ourselves to our fullest, that's where we experience and see a lot more poverty. And like you said, the systematic oppression that has been forever within our community. Yes, it layers even more of is that you, sweetie? I think there's a lot of movement I'm hearing behind me.
Yeah, that's me. I'm moving my microphone so I can make sure you can hear me well.
Okay, that's cool. But yeah, it's one of these things that we're constantly seeing the direct results of our thinking, and you know we're right back facing probably, you know, it's already being stated that right now we're looking at even worse type of situation of recession based upon 2008, post 9/11, da. But I have this thing where I'm like, we have enough resources to cycle and keep each other up. And it's one of these things where I'm encouraging people as much as I can, from this radio broadcast to video posts, you know, text messages, Facebook Lives, whatever, however the communication messages online needs to be expressed, that if we just really stop and pay attention and look around us, we all have something that we can do to keep each other rolling. If we feed into each other. There's how many billions of people around the world, how many of small businesses are here? Because the truth of the matter is, we're not going to see the bailouts. Let's be real. No. The bailouts, the conversation, we can follow all this stuff that we want, but the truth in season is, even once you go to the SBA, you're already overwhelmed because you're sitting here. If you got a business where you already have square footage that you have to worry about, overhead and products and services that are relying upon people walking into a space that they no longer can come into. You got all that. Then you still got to figure out, if you got staff, you got people, employees, and things of that nature, what can you give them or tell them that's going to have them in a space of commitment? Because nobody knows where we are. So there's so many things that we're left to deal with, but how can we do better? You know what I'm saying? What can we do right now?
We're doing better is mandatory. That's not even at this point, as of about an hour ago, all non-emergent businesses in my state have closed. So when they say non-emergent, first of all, I'm going to have to go Google that, because I need you to tell me what's considered an emergency. Are you saying just medical and law enforcement personnel and everything else is shut down? I don't know how that works. So now I don't have a choice but to kick. I don't have a choice but to kick into survival mode. Now we're in a position where you don't have a choice. If I live in Pennsylvania, so if what's happening in my state is getting ready to happen in your state and the other 49 states, we in trouble. If you don't know how to survive, you're going to be in trouble. You're going to be in trouble. And if you don't know how to survive and you don't have faith, that's when your fear is going to kick in. Period.
Yes, absolutely.
Period. And now we're going to see looting and robberies and hoarding and
yeah.
Exactly. Because you're not tapping into your resources. And that's going to be a problem. And that's what we're getting ready to see pandemonium in full craziness.
Yes.
In a whole minute.
Jazzy, you know what? I'm gonna tell you guys. I know I have people listening, and I failed to say this. If you guys want to be a part of the conversation, just hit the 1 on your keypad, and I'll be able to bring you live. And if you have a question or something like that, just say your name and where you're calling from. We do have a caller.
Please.
I'm gonna take you live.
That's awesome.
Come on, let's see here. You're live caller. Welcome to Louddmouth Radio.
Which caller? You talking about me? Oh, hi, LeShelle, girl. This is Jazzy. I am so happy to have you on the show. I said, you know what, Sonny? I'm going to sit back. I'm just going to listen, and I'm just going to enjoy the show. She said, Jazzy, I'm telling you now, you're going to want to come on the show. I said, I'm not coming on the show. She said, but you guys are so similar. I'm telling you, you're going to want to come on the show. So I've been on mute, not on the studio. What do you call that thing you're using over there? Line. So I've been sitting back the whole time. I'm talking like I'm on air, girl. Yes, right? Oh my God, you better say that. Like, you know, when you're talking to the TV when you're watching a movie,
right?
I'm like,
when you feel that connection and somebody is speaking your language, that's what happens.
So she's
then they
looking at me
got
like,
you talking to the TV and everything else.
Exactly.
I know that's right.
Let me tell you,
thank you, Jazz.
I so love, because this is the conversations that we've had over the years. This is the conversations that I've had so many years just as a cosmetologist and talking to clients of all calibers about our communities, the global community, what we can do better as individuals and as a culture that so many others are already doing. Well, here's the thing. I'm 52. So I grew up in a just a few years more than most of you guys, right? And so I grew up in this close country community, had older parents, older grandparents. So I grew up old school. When we were coming up, we were still in that slight bit of segregation, a lot of black-white issues. And, you know, I grew up going into the quote-unquote ice cream parlor where we had to go through the back entrance, get our ice cream, and watch people be served in the front entrance. Of course, at that time, I didn't understand why, though I've always been a social activist, I realized. Because I'm like, Mama, why we can't go in the front? Why we got to go through the back? You know, putting her in serious jeopardy. I grew up in that antebellum South in North Carolina where we did have black fountains, black-only and white-only fountains. That's what I came up through. Having said that, where we are right now is where we're going to go back to. Meaning, when the country was at its poorest, and I don't mean that it was no money there, just when we were in this little circle of segregation, we had to depend on who? Each other.
That's right.
We could not depend on the government. We did not depend on the government. We asked and we pushed and we rallied and we marched for change. But we did not rely on the government. We got into this comfortable situation where we believe, as you said when I was screaming at the phone and at the TV and at the studio line and everything else, saying, girl, yes. We cannot depend on a system when the system was never made for you in the first place, okay? This is not a group of black women in media having a conversation that black is the only way and the right way and the best way. It just is what it is. We're not opposing any other group of people. We're simply saying that who we are, we cannot change. Okay? We were born into this skin. We were born into our families. And the system that was created was not created for us here in America. So having said that, how do we now operate at our best in this system and now at a broken system even for those who created it?
I'm getting ready to tell you how. You ready?
Girl,
I'm getting ready to answer your question.
I might have to mute because I'm telling you.
Clutch your pearl.
I might have to scream just a few minutes, and I don't need everybody to hear that. But continue.
I'm about to tell you, it's entrepreneurship. So before we began to rely on the system, we were all entrepreneurs. So we were sharecroppers. We had to buy our tools and so forth and so on, but we were sharecroppers. We grew our own food. We made our own clothes. We did our own hair. We did each other's hair. We watched each other's kids. Those of us who could read taught somebody else how to read. And it was all either entrepreneurship, a cash exchange, or a barter exchange.
That's it.
That's what we get. See, they think we getting ready to go back to be picking cotton. Let me help you with something right through here. I'm not picking nobody's cotton.
Yeah.
Okay? Y'all going to have to take LeShelle out the game because I'm not picking cotton for nobody. But if this system fails, not today, not tomorrow. So if this here system, this world system fails because we have the world's worst leadership right now, and not just our country, other countries. You saw that fool over in Brexit. He's glory. Okay, so it's not just us. We're not the only ones that got poor leadership. It's poor leadership across the board.
Worldwide.
But if we're just talking about worldwide, but if we're just talking about this country that my forefathers helped build, we built Washington. We built the White House. We designed Washington, D.C. We designed Wall Street. This whole system is predicated on the backs and the blood of slaves. And if they think we're going to go back to slavery, they some fools. But we are going to go back to relying on ourselves. We are going to go back. We are going to go back to relying on each other. So this, even though it may look bleak because the news, first of all, with this whole virus situation, the president and his administration wasn't truthful, and the media wasn't truthful. So you already know you can't rely on the news. However, in light of those people who have passed away from this here disease, so forth and so on, we are financially being impacted by that. I've been monitoring the stock market, and what I'm seeing is blowing my mind. It's up.